Okay, folks, did you know we have a newsletter? We want to invite you to subscribe or click on the show notes to get it every month because we love giving meaningful book recommendations that you can read with kids, games for family game night, and great conversation starters. So check out our newsletter.
Hey, friends. Welcome to the Raising Boys and Girls podcast. I'm Sissy Goff.
And I'm David Thomas, and we're so glad you've joined us for this conversation. Let's dive in. We have been very excited about this episode.
Yes,
for
we
a
have.
long time, thinking about being in the room with two folks we really enjoy and respect.
Yes.
And excited to learn from you both.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to be talking about all things 5's today. We have kids of multiple ages represented in this room, male and female perspective, and excited to just start out by asking you both, what would you say you love the most about your number, and what do you love the least?
I'm going to let you go first.
Okay, I came up with 3 words to summarize my love the most. Curious, patient, and tenacious. And I think there's a distinction between tenacious and persistent, because I think persistent would imply like repetitive, whereas tenacious would be like adapting. So like trying to grasp a problem, but not just like doing the same thing over again, being like, wait, what else can I do? How else can I approach this? What else can I do? So I think those are things about a 5 that help me like navigate life.
Yes.
That I think are great. I don't know. That it feels like those are good things for me. Least, I 100% wrote down what we were talking about earlier. I often think I need more information to make a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And that I'm like, if I could just have more information. When I think that often the case is I could trust my intuition or my feelings and make a choice and not delay. And then that delay of like waiting for more information creates emotional conflict within myself, with socially. So that can be pretty hard.
Before you jump in, I want to say I've never heard the word curious with 5's, and you two are two of the most engaging in terms of asking questions of anyone I know. I mean, you both are so gifted in that space in relationship. And so I'm so glad you started with that, because I didn't know that was true about 5's. I just knew it was true about the two of you.
That's really sweet.
Oh, it's very true.
I definitely resonate with those. A picture came to me when I was thinking about the first one. And in the Gospel of Luke, it talks about Mary pondering these things and treasuring them in her heart.
Yes.
And I think one of the things that relates to maybe being a 5 is how you can kind of hoard and treasure. But in regards to parenting, now how I'm experiencing my children is I get to like step back and ponder and reflect on how they're growing and changing. And I experience a lot of wonder just at getting to be a part of their lives, which has been really special. I think I struggle with a lot of insecurity. I think 5's can feel not prepared, not capable, not ready. And then it happens and you're like, oh, here it is. Am I ready? And then if there's an opportunity for comparison, there can be a comparison trap of, oh, this other parent or this other mom that seems to have it so figured out and I don't. So I would say that would be one of the parts I enjoy the least.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. Well, so for parents who are listening that think, I wonder what number my child is, might they be a 5? We would love to hear you all talk about yourselves when you were younger. Just if there's a time that you think, man, knowing what I know now, that's when I saw it show up.
So if you're listening to this, you can't see me, but I'm 6 feet tall and was always tall as a child. But I became obsessed with horses and becoming a jockey at a young age.
Really? I did not know this about you.
By the time we met, I had kind of bloomed out of this, but I did horseback riding lessons. I read every Black Beauty, Black Stallion, like all the horse books you could read. So I think 5s do have a tendency to deep dive on one thing. Like they get really into something and it becomes, just everywhere what they're interested in. And so I would say if your kid is really prone to like doing a deep dive in one topic, that could be maybe a 5. But also I would say for me growing up, I enjoyed from an early age solitude and time alone. And it was not a rejection of being with other people. It was just what refreshed me. And so I wonder if kids today might be the same.
That's so interesting. Huh.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I think similar to the solitude, if you're maybe thinking about this number in your child, I found pretty quickly that my favorite book growing up was this series, the Incredible Cross-Section series.
Okay.
And it's like this series of books that they do across, like it can be medieval or they even have like movie theme like Star Wars. And it's this incredibly detailed picture that's a cross-section image on both sides of every little intricate piece of some, like if it's a medieval castle, it's like, here's all the people and the different roles that they have and the different systems that are all at play in this giant thing. And you as a reader are sitting there observing, watching this like huge process play out of like this world. And then each page is like another intricate, complex system. And I would just spend hours looking at that. And I could still spend hours looking at that. But I think that's similar. It's like you're kind of like at a distance maybe, but still engaged.
Right.
And still present, but maybe like that's your comfort zone if you're more like, I want to watch all the details.
So good.
Would you say the same was true about you liking alone time?
Yeah, I would say in thinking about this and growing up, like I would get sick on family trips and I didn't know I was sick because I was so stressed and like so confined and like kind of overwhelmed. And it was one of those maybe classic things where I'm like, I don't know how I'm feeling until like a couple days later, like after like, oh, I was feeling like pretty uncomfortable and maybe needed to like make some space for myself.
That's so interesting.
So yeah.
I would be curious. I mean, you've studied the Enneagram more than I have for sure. I don't know about y'all, but are there ever extroverted 5s?
I wondered the same thing because I just listened to the introvert extrovert episode and I was curious.
Supposedly there could be representation of both in all numbers, but there would be arguably less in some.
Extroverted 5s and introverted 7s.
There
maybe
you
we
are.
could
There
say
you
that.
are. Two great examples right there.
Huh.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
And I might wonder with you all, like possibly the very least in your number an extroversion. If we could poll the people.
Yeah.
But you both love people.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're both amazing with people. And
that's kind
Go
of
us.
in small groups.
In
small groups. There you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And now a quick break to hear from one of our incredible sponsors who make the podcast available.
So, David, how's your Christmas shopping coming along?
Let's just say I'm at the thinking about making a list stage.
I knew it. Meanwhile, I'm done. I got everything early this year thanks to Wayfair's Black Friday sale.
You're already finished?
Yep. I found the most amazing inflatables for the lake house. A fishing pole rack for Henry. Don't tell him yet. You know how obsessed he is with fishing. Gifts for little Wit and gifts for my sister and brother-in-law that I cannot talk about because they might be listening right now.
That's called smart shopping. Guess who else has spent a lot of time on the Wayfair website?
Who?
My wife. She's been casually leaving a Wayfair wish list all over the house. 10 things on it right now. Lamps, baskets, a new rug, like a treasure map of hints.
They have everything at Wayfair.
And they make it so easy, even for late shoppers like me. Huge selection, fast free shipping, and those up to 70% off deals this month don't hurt either.
Exactly. Everything for your home, decor, furniture, gifts, all in one place. Wayfair really does have it all.
All right, you've convinced me. I'm shopping tonight.
Don't miss out on early Black Friday deals. Head to wayfair.com now to shop Wayfair's Black Friday deals for up to 70% off. That's WAYFAIR.com. Sale ends December 7th.
Sissy, I had a family tell me that their kids decided last year to make their own ornaments out of paper clips and marshmallows. The dog ate 3 of them and 1 melted on the tree lights. Their house smelled like burnt sugar till New Year's.
I love that story, and it's exactly what I think of when I see Whit and Henry working on their KiwiCo crates. Same creativity and joy, but with way fewer fire hazards. These crates don't just sit on a shelf. Whit builds this little koala crate volcano, and when it started bubbling, he yelled, "Science is awesome!"
And I love that KiwiCo makes it so easy to give something thoughtful. You can pick from 8 crate lines. There's one for every age and interest, and it's shipped right to their door.
Plus, it's screen-free, which we all need a little more of these days. Kids actually get to build and create something instead of just tapping a screen.
So this holiday season, give a gift that sparks wonder and keeps kids curious long after the wrapping paper's gone.
Tinker, create, and celebrate this holiday with KiwiCo. Get up to 50% off your first crate at kiwico.com, promo code RBG.
That's up to 50% off your first crate at kiwico.com, promo code RBG. And now back to the show. Okay, and thinking about shifting from your growing up to you being parents now, would love to ask you both in the context of parenting, where have you seen your number benefit you?
So I read a lot of historical fiction. That's something I enjoy. And if you read, stories from older time periods, inevitably you come across just the high rate of child mortality and the high rate of mothers who would die in childbirth or when their children were still young. And one of the things that I think as a 5 we can have is sort of a different perspective and just a sense of perspective. And I think for me, parenting is hard, for sure. Lots of challenges. But sometimes I'm like, wow, I'm getting to see them grow up. I'm getting to see the boys approach young adulthood. I might get to be a grandmother someday. Like, it is hard, but I'm getting to do it. And that is something that I was curious. I started digging around. I think prior to the industrial era, only about 30% of women got to see their children reach adulthood.
Wow.
And of those children, it was only like 20 to 50% of the children they'd given birth to that they would see. So I'm like, wow, I am in this like tiny minority of women in the history of the world who get to raise my kids. And even when they're fighting, like, I'm watching them. I'm there, you know? And so sometimes that just helps me.
That's a great reminder.
For me, I really enjoy, like, my favorite thing, I think, is watching Lucy learn how to ask questions. So, like, my daughter as a 3-year-old, I remember the moment we sat down at dinner and she was just beginning to learn how to put words together. And we were sitting there and all of a sudden Lucy goes, "So how's your day?"
Aww.
I was like, huh.
Wow.
You just learned that we talk about that.
Wow.
And I was like, that's such a great question. And then, like, in the last month, she was like, she says it all the time when we eat, which is really cute because she always says it. And then she asked me the other day, she was like, "Did it end hard?"
Wow.
And I was like, whoa.
Wow.
I love that question. Like, thanks for asking me that. I'm like encouraging her. And now, like, the other day, sometimes I journal, like, at work as I'm going through the day, just to, like, process what's going on. And I started writing when I started the day. I was like, how do I want my day to end? Like, what would I want to tell her when I come home? I was like, she's a really smart little kid. Like, just seeing those questions and being like, ooh, I love that question. Like, I wonder where that takes her next.
And maybe you've given her some of that curiosity and ability to ask questions. Totally.
I hope that we can show her and my next daughter that, like, there's a world out there you can be curious about.
Which also speaks to the intentionality that is what I know of both of you as well. And I would guess maybe as part of being a 5.
Can I share like a fun,
Please.
Like a fun fast forward 10 years?
Go for it.
Because you're in like the little kid years, but we're in the approaching puberty years. And so one of my older sons, the other day we were in the car and something came up about puberty. I can't even remember what it was. But we just were kind of talking about it, chatting about it. And he turns to me and he goes, "So Mom, is your body like done?" Like, are you going to go through anything else, or are you pretty much done? And I was like, okay, he asked a great question. I want to give an honest answer. And so we had this pretty extensive conversation about perimenopause and menopause. And part of me was like, on the one hand, that is so weird. And then the other part, I was like, that is so cool that he is going to know about that for 30 years from now, you know, or whatever. But the questions just get better and better and better.
That's so good, Lauren.
No. Okay, I hate to ask the flip side of that question, but would love to hear where y'all feel like maybe your number has gotten in the way in terms of being parents.
One of the things I wrote down in thinking about this question was she's not here to like just learn. So like having two girls, it's not all about like preparing them, giving, you know, the way I would think about life of like how much can I prepare and equip these individuals to be healthy, functioning adults. It's like that is a very practical, realistic need. But I think I can get a little bit too focused on that. And maybe sometimes I forget to like be present and enjoy and like parent. You know, I can like watch and observe like pretty easily, step back. But I think it's important for me to remember to be like, oh, I think I'm in charge right now. I think it might be a good time for me to like challenge this or like have conflict. And that can be challenging to be like engaged emotionally just in general. And then like as a parent, it can be like particularly challenging when you're like, I really want to watch. I don't want to have to like fight right now, but I have to fight because they have to learn how to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I can relate. I think sometimes when I'm in some type of a tension or struggle with one of the boys, it's very easy for me to make it about me and my desire to prepare them, equip them. Have I done it right? Have I given them enough? And to make whatever struggle they're in about that, rather than really looking at what is this boy needing in this moment and who is he? And sort of to remove myself from the equation to think through what's he really saying to me and what does he really need. So maybe all numbers struggle with that in different ways, but I would say my own stuff can just get in the way of me seeing what they need.
Yes.
Okay, let's build on that because you all are offering something so important in that. Talk about additional practical ways that you would say you've learned to work through the struggle side of your number when it's getting in the way of who you want to be as a person or a parent.
Well, so that particular struggle that I was just talking about, I can think of a moment this spring. So my youngest just started kindergarten. And so we were he was in preschool last year in pre-K, but we would still, you know, do a little bit of phonics work here and there to try and get him ready to learn how to read. And in April, we moved to a new house. And so for about a month, I mean, moving I can see why you just never want to do it again when you do it, you know? It's so overwhelming. And especially once, the last time we had moved, we were expecting our first child. And then 12 years later, you move and you have 3, and there's just so much stuff. But anyway, we sat down to do his little phonics work. And he just started having a fit. I mean, like fighting me on it in ways that I had not seen before. And I'm just thinking like, this has been really like an enjoyable, easy process up until now. What is going on? And I like was just sitting there with him in our big chair. And I just started praying like, okay, God, am I in this power struggle with him because I'm obsessing internally about, is he ready for kindergarten? Or is this really about him and his need to learn phonics? And I just kind of knew in that moment to ask the question, is this a struggle because it's about me wanting to feel like I've prepared him? Or is this really about him and what he needs? And he was like having a full-on tantrum. And then he just kind of paused and he looked at me and he said, Mom, I'm not fighting this because I don't want to do it. I'm fighting because since we moved, we haven't had enough practice and I just don't remember the things that I remembered in the old house. Can we go back to the beginning and start from the beginning?
Wow.
And it was like this light bulb moment of, okay, like if I pay attention to what you actually need, maybe you'll tell me, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm just like, this is what we must do to prepare you for kindergarten.
Yes.
We will get through this phonics book no matter what. So I would say that's like one little thing, just asking the question when I approach a struggle with them, just asking the question, is this about me or is this about them? And then
a great question for everybody
Yeah,
in any situation.
Yeah.
But I would say 5s can struggle too with just limited energy and limited social introversion, limited social capacity. And accepting that about myself and accepting that I need downtime and that my need for downtime isn't a rejection of them, but it's something that can be a gift to them too, to teach them that we all need downtime and that that's just like a good thing for all of us, introvert, extrovert, whatever.
Yeah, totally. I thought of like a couple little tiny practical things. So like, I think having a phone and being a 5 or like having the internet and being a 5 is like a interesting mixture of things. So when I come home, I put my phone on the charger in my room. And so I really try to just have my watch if Katie needs to text me or whatever. So I try not to have my phone when I come home. And then I think another thing is just showing vulnerability. So like it's so easy to talk, I think, and like explain. But I've heard the phrase like adolescents explain, but adults announce. And so it's like that distinction of being like, okay, I'm going to, it's kind of like showing versus telling. Like I want to show vulnerability to Lucy. So I'll like intentionally ask for affection, which is hard for me to be like, hey, can you give me a hug? Like I want a hug, you know? Or like asking for her help on small things. It's like she can help me like, you know, open something or like little tiny things that as a 3-year-old, it's like she doesn't really get what's going on, but I'm like asking her for help. I'm inviting her into a relationship. So I think wanting her to know that like I can flex those muscles. It's like, it's hard for me to do that, but I think just little things like that I can think of. Like, okay, this is a small thing I can practically like keep doing.
Will you say more about the phone and the interesting relationship?
I think because I love information, it's like Wikipedia, for instance, like I could spend my whole life on Wikipedia because there's so many rabbit holes to go down, you know? And it's like, there's so many things to get into there. But I think it's especially hard to be present emotionally and connected with my kid when I have a phone that's just like right there and work is right there and, you know, any distraction is right there. And like, I want her to know that I can manage that so that when she has to manage it, like like
so good.
At some point she'll know how to deal with it. Hopefully I will have shown her how I've dealt with it at least.
It's so neat to me that that's clearly like a conscious choice because it's not like you're modeling like, oh, I'm just inherently self-disciplined. I keep my phone in my pocket and I don't look at it, but that she's able to see you're making a conscious choice because you know your own limitation and you know your own tendency. So it's showing like self-awareness and a choice in response to that self-awareness, which I think is so neat.
Yeah. Like, I hope that she knows, you know, like I don't know what it's like for your kids at your age, but like I have screen time on my phone because I know I'm going to be on YouTube or whatever for hours. And so I have to have that for myself. And it's like, I hope that makes the conversation easier when it comes time to be 13. And she's like, well, like, you know, we can't just all have access to everything all the time. Like, I don't know what that's like for you, but like, that's got to be hard when they get older. So I'm just trying to do the best I can as I go.
Yeah, that's so good. And now we're going to take a little break to hear from one of our sponsors who makes this podcast possible. You know what I've spent a small fortune on, David? serums, masks, conditioners, and I somehow ignored the actual water hitting my face.
Same. We filter the water we drink, but not the water we shower in.
A beauty wellness company that purifies the water we shower in for better skin, hair, and overall well-being. Their filtered shower head removes chlorine and heavy metals, which is a big deal because chlorine is added to our water to disinfect it, but it's damaging to hair and skin and fundamentally causes issues. Jolie fixes this.
And it's the only lab-tested and clinically trialed filtering shower head on the market, clinically proven to reduce hair shedding in 81% of people, lab-tested to reduce frizziness by 40%, maintain color retention, and protect the hair surface layer.
Also, it looks sleek, the perfect combo of form and function.
Still great water pressure, fits all showers, universal pipe size, 10 out of 10 upgrade for my bathroom, and honestly, my hair's more out.
Jolie will give you your best skin and hair guaranteed. Go to jolieskinco.com/RBG to try it out for yourself with free shipping.
And if you don't like it, you can return your Jolie for a full refund within 60 days, no questions asked.
And now back to our show. So what would you each say you hope your kids experience most deeply from you as a parent?
Well, I mean, of course, love. Of course, But also, I would say, and this is maybe some a 5 and some a parent of 3 of the same gender.
Boys?
Yeah, 3 boys. But I really hope that they would say, my mom noticed and celebrated how God made me uniquely. And she helped me see that we didn't all have to be the same. It wasn't a rinse and repeat, that we were all different and unique and all reflected the image of God in a special way.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting you said celebrate, because celebrate comes to mind, and cherish comes to mind too, where it's like cherish maybe is about you can enjoy being with someone, but cherishing is like, oh, I know the little tiny jokes that you make and it's so funny and I want to make the most of those little tiny jokes, or the little edges of things that make someone them. I hope that my kids know that I cherish that in them.
And what a gift for a dad of girls.
Indeed.
To want to engage with them in that
Indeed.
way. Does immeasurable good in their lives. And not that moms and boys aren't important. I just don't know as much about that area, but from a lot of girls' perspectives, Kris.
How did the two of you think your kids would describe what it's like to have your number as a parent?
5s can be real intentional parents, just as you modeled with your phone, Kris. And so we have lots of family rhythms. And I think at times the boys might also be like, we can't wait to go to so-and-so's house where it's like, whatever goes, you know? In fact, my middle son recently said to me, Mom, I don't know that you realize that some parents just don't care. And I was like, on the one hand, it made me sad. But on the other hand, I realized, I think he realizes that we really care about certain things, So rhythms around chores, rhythms around having downtime, rhythms around spiritual formation. I think my older boys now do their own laundry and they don't love that. But I think maybe when they're older, they will be able to say, Mom was trying to make sure that we would not be shell-shocked when we went to college, she was trying to prepare us.
And they'll have more confidence and resilience because you've done that too, Lauren.
Thank you, sissy. So, I don't know if that answers it, but I think they would look back and see some intentionality.
Indeed.
And on the flip side, maybe some rigidity, but hopefully intentionality on the positive.
For some reason, the only thing that comes to mind for me is picturing what Lucy would say. And I think my one daughter would probably say, Dad's slow. I think my wife being not a 5 and being very in touch with her feelings, very quick to respond. I am probably the slowest parent she'll ever meet, but I think there's plenty of pros to that and cons. But I think if she were to think what the description of me, maybe it's slow. Like one of the rhythms is like Lucy and I will feed the birds. So like we'll go outside and she'll put the bird seed in the bird feeder and we'll put it up and we'll watch the birds. And she's gotten like a pretty good grasp as a 3-year-old on like different breeds and types of birds and stuff. So like I don't know. I think like some of the slow things maybe is how she would describe it. It's not really like a pro or a con. It's both.
Well, but maybe that's an introvert extrovert thing too, about that introverts can experience happiness in like slow, ponderous, content moments. Yeah. And your extroverts are more like the thrills and the excitement.
So true.
Yeah,
100%. So true. So for the parent listening who thinks, oh, I think I might be a 5. I might have just found myself. What wisdom would you all give them in terms of wanting to grow as a parent and as a person?
So when we were expecting our very first son, almost 13 years ago, I was very pregnant, and I noticed a mom across the way at our neighborhood swimming pool that we just moved to, and she was nursing her newborn. And so I got my courage and I walked over and I introduced myself and said, I'm expecting our first baby. Is that your first baby? And she did this deep belly laugh. And she points and she goes, those are my 15-year-old twins over there. And that's my 9-year-old. And yes, and then introduced me to her baby. And we became fast friends. And that little baby was in our house just this weekend as now a 13-year-old. But the gift of that friendship to me has been to have, 5's love to be learners. And so when we can sit in the seat of someone who can answer questions, give us wisdom, give us guidance, and there's not the tendency to compare and go into self-doubt, but we can just be. And so she is one of my many Yodas, the moms who are a step ahead of me, 10 steps ahead of me, that I feel like I just get to learn from. And I don't have any of that comparison stuff going on because they're in a totally different season of parenting. So to 5's, I would say, if you find yourself struggling in any aspect of parenting, are there parents in your life that maybe they haven't gotten it all right, nobody has, but where you feel like you can just pick their brains and share with them what's going on in yours and get their tips? And I mean, she's the one who told me, get the boys' laundry independent by middle school. And so I kind of had that in my mind as that's what our goal, So I think mentor parents are real gifts to 5's.
I think it's interesting if you maybe think you're leaning towards a 5, as someone listening to this, maybe if you think you're a 5, but you don't think about it as I feel like a 5, you're probably more like a 5 if you're thinking about it first. And then if you are someone who has multiple podcasts that you listen to, I listen to podcasts that are 4 to 5 hours long. And so that's my favorite kind of podcast.
Wow.
I don't know. Tips for 5's. I think as a parent, I think again, kind of trying to continue to have friends and do things outside of my family is really important. To stay whole is to I think have my own identity in addition to having a work life and a family life, having a social life that I can take care of myself and be okay. That's just a hard thing to do, but I think it's a really valuable thing.
Okay, can I ask a part B to that question? You, Lauren, talked about something earlier that I was so grateful you mentioned because when you talked about the measured amount of energy, and I remember learning about that early in studying 5's, and I have often thought about 5's in the context of parenting and what that must feel like to wake up in that space each day. And all of us know that the game of parenting is exhausting at its best, And I learned, and you tell me if this feels true for you, that 5's can see time and energy with a scarcity mindset. I'm just always paying attention to it's shrinking. What would you say you've learned thinking about what you could even offer other parents in that who just, again, wake up every day thinking, oh my goodness, I love these people and they're exhausting and I only have a measured amount of energy and time and they need a lot.
Yeah. So I would say that for me has looked different at different seasons of life. So when the boys were really little, and I was up in the night for feedings and all the different things, I was really focused on nap time. Nap time was going to happen every day.
Good.
So on the one hand, maybe a little too rigid, a little too ritualistic, but on the other hand, it was like, I need to know that for an hour to an hour and a half every day, nobody's going to be touching me and nobody's going to be needing me,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
And even if it's funny that Kris mentioned the podcast because I remember they would go to sleep and I would put in a podcast and I would like zone out doing something. It might be folding laundry, it might be cleaning or cooking, or if I was working part-time doing work, but it was like, let me give that part of myself, the relational part of myself, a break and do something totally different while they're asleep. Now that they're older, that time has to be really early. And I won't say the hour because it might scare people, but it's really early in the morning just to know there's going to be a pocket of time when no one's asking me for anything and I can have a cup of coffee and just be by myself with my Bible and my journal. And yeah, so for me, that has been the key.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. I think something I've found is that I think I got through a lot of life trusting that that perspective of like there's a limit and I know my limit and I really won't hit that limit, like that energy limit. I think what I'm learning now is that there are other, like, I don't have to just lean on that perception and trust of like that's sort of like a negative frame to looking at yourself. And so I'm like, oh, okay, I also have a lot of potential that I'm learning I have more than that limit. Like I used to trust that was the limit and I had to have this time of sleep and this time, and that just like kind of goes out the window when you have a kid and then like having a second soon and thinking about like not sleeping at night. That's like number one fear because like for me, yeah, like sleep is really important and rest is really important. But I think I'm also realizing that I maybe put so much stock in like my fear of running out. I forgot that like a lot of good things happen when you kind of run out of your energy because you kind of learn like, oh, like it's going to be okay. Yeah. I'm going to be okay. And like, I will actually find new energy from other places like caffeine or whatever. Like, and I'll get there. Like we'll get there and we'll be okay. And if it's a mess, like maybe that's okay too.
Yeah.
That's
great.
Like, which is really hard for, I think, for me and for like accepting that it's going to, that's going to be a mess and like we're going to be fine. I don't know. Yeah. So I think I'm learning that my limits aren't the only thing. Like it used to be the only thing, right? It was like a guiding force. And now it's like, oh, there's other stuff that I can trust. It doesn't have to be just the limit and staying within the limit. It's kind of like
so
multidimensional.
That's great.
That's so
probably
good.
a great thing to say out loud right before you have a baby.
Well, I'm saying it out loud and then I'm going to be like so mad that I'm so tired.
But what a beautiful reminder, both of you. I think I love, Kris, the way you talked about that of just those circumstances allowed for you to figure out, okay, I can trust myself and I can trust God. Like if he's given me these kids and I need this amount of sleep and this amount of energy, can I trust that he's going to give me what I need to have all of what I need to give them? So I love how you all talked about that. Thanks for letting me throw that part B on there. We have no desire for this rich, thoughtful conversation to end, but we do want to respect your time, speaking of measured time. And we're going to ask you one last question. We always end with something fun and food related. What is your number's ideal meal, both the food and the experience?
So I've been to the same place for my birthday the last 2 years. And I think that alone is maybe indicative of what we're talking about, that like a 5 would pick the same thing. But it's also a sushi place. And I think sushi's maybe simple in appearance and like consistent in appearance, but like very rich and flavorful and varied in what's behind the scenes.
Oh.
Like there's maybe like 2 or 3 different things that you see in a roll, but there's also like so much depth.
That's great.
Sushi's my favorite.
I love that.
I don't know.
It's a great
This is really
answer.
funny because we have completely different answers.
Do we really?
So my response was, I really enjoy going to meals where it's someone else's favorite restaurant or new restaurant that they've just tried and you haven't been to before. But they're like, here, let me tell you all the best things on the menu and let me share this experience with you. And you just kind of like get to be along for the ride. I love meals like that.
That's so interesting.
I think there's similarity because you're saying, I want it to be someone else maybe taking charge of it. And I'm saying, I want the same thing. It's just like, I want to know it's going to be like the same as I've always had it. You're like, I want someone else to keep it the same for me.
Totally.
I don't know.
Good observation.
Great observation.
Y'all, thank you. It's been so helpful learning from learners. Feels like what today has been. Yeah, y'all, thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
David, what a team we have that we get to call friends who help make this podcast possible. Chris Starrett, our engineer.
Our management team at KCH.
And we are thrilled to be a part of the That Sounds Fun network.
Our music was created by the insanely talented Dave Haywood of Lady A.
And if this podcast felt helpful to you, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing, all the things.
We are grateful for you and cheering you on always.